Hello, my name is Kopila, and today we will be discussing the system of government welfare and the stigma surrounding it, and how the stigma affects intercultural communication in the greater Denver area. I have been working with Rocky Mountain Human Services for the past few months and have had the opportunity to talk to the staff and patients about their experiences. Rocky Mountain Human Services is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1992. They mainly focus on case management and providing services to children, adults, and veterans. I want to start the podcast off by introducing a patient that I had the opportunity to speak to, and we will refer to this patient as Patient X.
Hello, my name is X.
Hi, X. Thank you for your time for this interview. Let me start off by asking you a few questions. Have you ever been stereotyped in your life because you receive welfare?
I have been stereotyped many times in my life because I rely on the government for assistance. There has been an instance where somebody asked me why I don't work and how I was able to provide for myself without working. And I basically just explained that I have a disability, which allows me to get social services, and this disability prevents me from working. People usually assume that I'm lying about my disability because they can't physically see it. Because I do have an invisible disability, I've been told in the past that I should just get a job and stop living off of the government.
How do you feel about all these stereotypes about people that receive welfare?
I think these stereotypes really undermine people's struggles.
Thank you, Patient X, for sharing your experience with us. This conversation reminded me of the concept of agency that we have spoken about in class. I felt that patients I had the chance to work with felt that none of them really had any agency. Since they are on welfare and reliant on the government, they felt that they really had no agency to change their own lives without the support of the government. While thinking about this, I also thought about context. This came to my mind because some of the patients that I had the chance to speak with fit the mold of a dominant power structure in the real world. So, given the context of the situation, these people do not receive agency that they normally would. I think that social location does a great job of explaining why some areas are more pro welfare and some areas are totally against it. I also think people's historical memories affect how they feel about welfare today. The stereotype of a welfare queen is actually recently new. A welfare queen was known to be a woman that was of African American descent, and she was stereotyped to be completely reliant on welfare. The stereotype was created to portray African American women and the African American population as a whole as being lazy and not hardworking. Not only does the phrase welfare queen imply that African Americans are lazy, but it also implies that African American females cannot control their sexuality. The effects of the stereotype and discrimination is still present in our society today. I also believe that the more modern stereotypes today that people have about welfare are just more refined stereotypes that stem from the welfare queen. I think it is evident in this podcast that dominant power structures have the ability to create narratives about minorities and populations that don't fit into their mold. It's important to acknowledge this so we can prevent this from happening in the future. It's also important to acknowledge that these stereotypes have portrayed minorities as being less human, and thus they get treated as such. By challenging the stereotypes about minorities, we can save lives.